And we are live on Facebook. Hello, Cole.
Hi, Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope it's okay if I call you Cole.
Absolutely.
And you are in Fairbanks tonight to talk about this really exciting project. I just heard about it, which I can't believe I just heard about it. Sounds like it's something that is very important. It's the Photo Ark.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the project to capture and collect the images of animals that may no longer be on our planet for much longer.
Yeah, well, and actually just all animals in captivity around the Earth. So there's about 12 to 15,000 in zoos and aquariums around the world, as well as private breeders. And we're photographing all of them on black and white backgrounds with studio lighting to have a uniform record of all of Earth's biodiversity. Since we're expected to lose about half of it by 2100, we want to be able to have images of it and be able to share it with future generations and hopefully be able to save some of the species in the process.
Are you getting images from all around them? So 3D models and stuff can be printed from the animals themselves? Or is it just like, here's the face of a cool zebra?
We will usually do a face image and a full body image. It just depends on how the animal reacts on our backgrounds. We try to never stress any animals, so we work with them fairly quickly, usually about 5 to 10 minutes. Most of these animals are raised in captivity and are very comfortable and calm around humans. So they just make different poses, and we hope that we can get images that they're looking happy and looking directly at us and make that connection with the people who see the images.
Is there a website people can visit, or is this project going and then you're going to release them all at one time? How can people see?
Yeah, it's an ongoing available project, and National Geographic partnered a number of years ago. So it's available if you Google National Geographic Photo Ark, or it's all available on joelsartore.com. My dad, Joel, started the project about 13 years ago, and continues to him and I go on shoots and continue to grow the archive, which, as I mentioned, we think there's about 15,000 species in zoos and aquariums, and we've done over 9,000 now on black and white backgrounds. So, and hopefully we'll be up to 10 by this fall.
So you're over halfway there.
Yes.
Do you guys have discussions? I won't go so far as to say arguments, or discussions about who's going to travel to zoos far across over the world, or did you pull names out of a hat? How do you decide who's going to do which one?
No, I mean, generally, I generally go as the lowly field assistant and help with video on occasion. And since it's really my dad's labor of love, he did it for many years, self-funding the project, and so he ultimately decides how we lay those out and where we go, and to maximize the number of species we can get for the project.
Has it been has it been a good thing for the father-son relationship, or has there been friction, or like how has it helped your own personal thing, this project to record the animals in the world?
Yeah, well, I mean, it can certainly be stressful at times when you want to make sure everything goes right and you're traveling to the other side of the earth, and you want to make sure you have everything and that it's working well, and that can certainly be stressful at times. But for the most part, I think it's a good bonding experience, and it certainly helps me appreciate what we have on Earth as it does with him, and helps us to spread our message more.
Some animals are very big, and some animals are very small. How do you take all that into account as you're going on with this project?
Yeah, sometimes we have to get creative with how we photograph species. Generally, most animals that are smaller and easier to deal with, we'll do in a soft-sided shooting tent, which is basically a 4x4 soft-sided box, and our lights that we have the backgrounds inside, and then we'll have our studio lights on the outside. For larger animals, like if we're doing a buffalo or an elephant, we have to get creative with their off-exhibit holding areas, where we might paint one of the walls black, and then incorporate our studio lighting into the ceiling. And oftentimes too, with a number of these species that really like routine, we'll work with zookeepers months in advance to create routines where they go in and pretend to be a photographer before they get fed every day. So when we arrive, it's nothing strange. It's just like they're coming in to get lunch.
Have you gone to a zoo or a preserve and been like, oh, we love this particular animal? No, we've already got that one. We don't need your favorite one.
Well, that's all part of the pre-planning as well. We'll generally send zoos that are interested in having us, zoos and aquariums, we'll send them our master inventory list, and then they'll compare it to their inventory list of species they have. and we'll find which species we don't, and then know that okay, we have 20 to do at this zoo, and so we'll still have half a day. So maybe let's find another breeder who's working on rare pheasants in that area, or turtles, or any number of species.
Well, I know whenever you talk about this, I'm sure people ask you this question. So I'm going to ask you right now, which has been your favorite?
Oh, sorry, what was that? You cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's a question I'm sure everybody is wondering, and you get asked it all the time when you're talking about this project. Which is your favorite?
Oh gosh, I might have to default to my father's answer, which is the next one, whatever species coming up. Yeah, it's hard to pick one from another for me.
Okay,
and
well, let's look around. Which has been the one that you had the most struggle with?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Probably chimps. They're tough to deal with. Love to throw poop. Love to reach between the bars and try and get you. So we haven't gotten a good shot of an adult chimp yet. Hopefully one day.
Oh, so it's like, okay, we're going to get this. There's little personal missions inside this larger mission. When you talk about it, have people over the years that you've been doing it, have people gotten a better appreciation of what's going on? Like, this is super important now that we sort of see that you're collecting them in this way, and they sort of recognize the importance of the project.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's been more publicity in recent years, which has helped get people's attention. And for some species, we've been able to get better funding for research projects and breeding programs to reintroduce them to the wild, which is fantastic. And we hope that we can get more species to get funding like that. But yeah, it just every year it seems to get more and more recognition, and certainly a lot of the beautiful imagery is because of that. But hopefully people will see the images, and that'll just be the starting point, and from there they can learn more about them, and hopefully take action by supporting a beneficial animal group, or even get involved in their local community with wildlife preservation.
Over the past 100 years, circuses and zoos and places like that have become the target of criticism for animal rights activists, saying that this is not the best way to introduce humans to the animals that share our planet with us, or that we share the planet with. How has your experience been working with places that have animals in captivity?
Sure. Well, and yeah, zoos originally started as menageries, as kind of these spectacles for people to see wild and rare things. And now, in recent years, they've become really preservation centers. Many of the animals that are kept and bred in accredited zoos and aquariums only exist in captivity now. They've gone extinct in the wild from overpopulation, from development, loss of habitat. And so they really are, these zoos are the true arks now in keeping a lot of these species alive. And in many instances, they're the only place that much of the population ever gets exposure to wild animals or environmental education of any kind. So they certainly do a lot of good. And there are some institutions out there that are not with accredited groups, or whose standards are not as high as they should be. But all of the accredited zoos and aquariums that we work at have really dedicated keepers who care about their animals, who provide enrichment activities for their animals, and want to see them healthy and thriving.
Do you get to put on a wetsuit and do underwater photography down there, and you go and take pictures of the great white shark and jellyfish? And I mean, we
haven't done great white shark. I don't know if any zoos have great white shark in captivity, but we've done some underwater species like bottlenose dolphin, which is primarily, we'll find again a zoo or aquarium that has that species and has a good, really clear window and an open area above where we can introduce our flashes, which overpower all the ambient light and create a very soft light and create a black background behind the animal. But so we do some underwater work, but again, generally from outside of the tank. But yeah, it's a bit more of a challenge, but we're working on aquatic stuff too.
You never know. There's a lot more to go. So in Fairbanks tonight, you're talking starts at 7 o'clock. Is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And up at the Muri building here on the Fairbanks campus. And yes. Are you going to show slides and talk about your adventures? Is it what are people going to experience when they come to meetings tonight?
Yeah, the presentation it's going to be about 45 minutes to an hour long with Q&A, I believe. And I'll be talking about what it's like to be a field assistant for National Geographic and how we make a lot of the images that end up in the magazine, which are continually world-class journalistic projects, as well as how this Photo Ark project got started, and how we make the images that we do.
Is your dad here too, or just you're here?
He's not, unfortunately, at the moment. He's traveling elsewhere, so I'm the lone representative this time.
So I have a couple of quick other questions. What are you going to do when you've got them all? Is it like a Pokemon and you're done, or do you just circle back around and find some new ones?
Yeah, well, if we get to that point, which is still probably anywhere from 5 to 10 years away, there's going to be a lot of long-term archiving work to do and captioning. We'll most likely have to do a lot of backup and storage outside of digital photography, since digital is very hard to archive for a very long time. So having things down on transparency film and being able to images being able to be viewed without the aid of a machine are very important to have. So there's going to be quite a bit of work to do once we've gotten everything.
And is my last question, and I know you got to get ready for the thing tonight, is there a camera crew following you around? Is there going to be a National Geographic television show about you and your adventures later on? You can't say anything about it.
No, not yet. I'm not sure I'd want to have that. That really slows down the workflow when you have to do things over and over again for a camera.
Thank you so much for sorting out to take some time to talk about this project. I'm sure that it really, I can see from the outside that it's something you care about, and you're contributing to the humans' understanding and appreciation of this world that we live in.
Sure. Well, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Cole. And go see you tonight at 7 o'clock in the Murray Building. Thank you.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.